The mist shrouded London streets like a sinister veil, swallowing the flickering glow of streetlights and casting everything into a murky abyss. It was the kind of night that made you question your sanity, where shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own, and every sound whispered of unseen horrors lurking just beyond the reach of sight. I trudged through the fog, my footsteps echoing hollowly against the damp cobblestones. The hairs on the back of my neck prickled with a sense of foreboding, as if unseen eyes watched my every move. But I brushed off the feeling, chalking it up to the eerie atmosphere of the city at night. As I turned down a narrow alley, the fog seemed to grow thicker, wrapping around me like icy fingers. I quickened my pace, eager to escape the oppressive silence that hung in the air like a pall. But no matter how fast I walked, it felt as though I was making no progress, as if the alley stretched on endlessly into the darkness. And then I heard it. A faint whisper, barely audible above the muffled sounds of the city. At first, I dismissed it as a trick of the wind, but then it came again, closer this time, and filled with an unmistakable sense of malice. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest as I strained to locate the source of the sound. But the fog was impenetrable, swallowing everything in its path, and leaving me blind and helpless. And then, out of the mist, it appeared. Figure, tall and gaunt, with eyes that glowed like hot coals in the darkness. It moved towards me with a slow, deliberate gait, its movements unnatural and jerky. I wanted to run, to scream for help, but my body refused to obey me, paralyzed with fear. The figure drew closer, its features becoming clearer with each step. It wore the tattered remnants of what had once been fine clothing, now stained and threadbare with age. Its face was twisted into a grotesque parody of humanity, with sunken eyes and a mouth that stretched impossibly wide, revealing rows of jagged teeth. I tried to tear my gaze away, to flee from this nightmarish apparition, but it was no use. It held me in its thrall, its eyes boring into mine with an intensity that made my blood run cold. And then, with a voice that seemed to emanate from the very depths of hell itself, it spoke. "Leave this place," it hissed, its voice a harsh rasp that sent shivers down my spine. "Leave before it's too late." I wanted to comply, to turn and run as fast as my legs would carry me, but something held me back. A nagging sense of curiosity, perhaps, or a foolish belief that I could somehow reason with this unholy creature. "Why?" I managed to choke out, my voice barely above a whisper. But before it could respond, a sound echoed through the alley, loud and jarring in stillness of the night. It was the tolling of a bell, deep and mournful, resonating through the fog like a death knell. The figure recoiled, its eyes widening in terror as it backed away from the sound. And then, with a final agonized wail, it vanished into the mist, leaving me alone in the darkness once more. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, trying to make sense of what had just happened. But the fog remained silent, its secrets locked away behind a wall of impenetrable gray. And so, with a sense of unease gnawing at my insides, I turned and fled from that accursed alley, vowing never to return to the fog-bound streets of London again. But try as I might, I could never shake the feeling that something lingered in the shadows, waiting and watching, ready to drag me back into the darkness from which it came.